Well, we have a special guest that's going to come to the party tonight.
And then Joe Biden comes.
He was vice president at the time. So Biden comes, and Biden was exactly the opposite of Kerry. Biden's standing at the entrance to the backyard, or to the side yard. He goes, "Hey!" like this. Everybody's like, "Hey, Mr. Vice President, good to see you." So he comes down and starts shaking hands with everybody, one at a time. Great eye contact. Hi, Joe Biden. Tell me your name again. You know, that kind of thing. I said, "Mr. Vice President, we've met a number of times. You probably don't remember me. I'm from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. My dad was best friends with Angelo Sands." He goes, "Angelo Sands from 7th grade?" And I said, "Yeah, your best friend from 7th grade." He says, "I do remember you. We talked about it. Angelo's a taxi driver in Las Vegas now." I said, "That's right. He is a taxi driver. Great memory." I said, "That conversation was 15 years ago." And then he says to the guy next to me, "I remember you."
I don't like you.
And he looks at Kerry, and Kerry just like, "I don't like him either."
And they walk away.
I said to the guy, what the
I had to stop doing. Well, I guess I don't go to events anymore. I would say shit like this, but like kind of like jokingly, and some people would take it seriously. So I feel like somebody told a stream or a story on stream. Was it Tectone or somebody? Because I would fight with so many people online, but in real life everybody's chill. So sometimes I'd meet people like, "Oh shit," I'd be like, "Don't we hate each other?" Or "Don't I hate you?" or something. And some people would take that like very, very, very seriously. I didn't know until afterwards though, because we were always like laughing about it in person. But then I think somebody said the green room guy. No, it wasn't that guy. This was like in the gaming streaming days or whatever. And then some guy was like, "Yeah, Destiny came up to me and he was like, 'I hate you.'" And I'm like, well, okay. It might have been Tectone. I don't remember.
He said, "Biden has hated me since I told him in a memo that we should pull out of Afghanistan." And I said, "Sweethearts these guys are." And he's like, "Yeah, well, what are you going to do?"
Chad Coltgen invited Destiny to the Necessary Conversation podcast.
Please show more patience, Chad and Haley. We already saw this one, I thought.
Yeah.
Distress. When is the Destiny and Zeet of the Hill collab? I don't know Zeet on the Hill or Zeet of the Hill, but Destiny, I watch his clips from time to time. Happy to have him on. You guys would not like that.
Yeah.
You guys would get
Wait, I thought, oh, he's talking to his mom?
fucking ripped apart. I believe he's over 30, though. I'll look into it. David.
Excuse me? What, are you calling me old? Wait, do they not have guests under 30 on, or what?
Have you ever killed anybody? No, thank God. My children asked me that. And I told them very proudly that I have never taken any action that resulted in the death of another human being.
There's one kind of half exception.
And the secretary came in and she said, "John,
General Powell is on the phone for you."
call him Powell." Boss is like, "Well, go answer the phone." So I went to my desk and I said, "Good morning, General Powell. This is John Kiriakou." And he says, "John."
Wait, do it. He mentioned over 30 because his dad said nobody under 30 because of a recent guest they had. Okay, based.
If the Iraqis were going to kill the president, who would actually be in charge of that operation?
I gave him the address. He says, "Thank you." And he hangs up the phone. I go back in the meeting. They were like, "What do you want?" I said, "He wanted to know about Sabra Dori and the attempt to kill President Bush." I'm like, "Okay." 8 hours later, we fired
47 cruise missiles into Iraqi intelligence service headquarters.
It's the middle of the night in Baghdad.
And we killed the janitor.
Have you ever killed anybody?
Okay.
Dwarf 9/11. He was planning something that would dwarf 9/11, right? And you've got to get the information before the bomb goes off. So you say, "Hey, I was a beta. Give me the information." He's like,
You.
"I'm not going to give you the information." So what do? Do you waterboard him? Do you sleep deprive him? Do you put him in a cold cell? Do you beat him? Do you put cockroaches on him?
Do you put hummus up his ass?
He was planning something.
Wait, what the? This guy is working for Russia today. The CIA Kiriakou guy getting pressed and working for RT.
Stuff. Now, I also have to understand, John, why are you working with Russian state media?
Oh, because I've got 5 kids and nobody's beating a path to my door to give me work. You know, this is all part of the overall plan. It's, again, my lawyer said, this isn't about John Kiriakou. This is bigger.
So for people who don't understand Andy's question, John has been hosting a radio show for a number of years for RT.
7 years now. For Sputnik Radio.
Jeez, 7 years. Wait, ex-CIA. Wait, what? There are so many wrong things with what I just heard, but okay. My bad.
Sputnik Radio.
Yeah, Sputnik Radio. The government, I think, or the agency maybe.
When we think like SF-86, when we think of like compromising like intelligence actors, doesn't that sound weird for a guy to say, "I cannot take care of my family if not for the money that I was making working for a foreign enemy of the United States of America"? By the way, I'm ex-CIA. I feel like that should set off so many alarms. No? He went to prison for whistleblowing. Oh, damn. What did he whistleblow on?
Would have been perfectly happy if I starved to death from lack of work or ended up at McDonald's. And I worked hard to rebuild my life.
Abu Ghraib. The CIA torture program for whistleblowing. What did this guy, did he deserve to go to prison, or what do we think? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Do we not like or not like this guy? Kiriakou, Wikipedia. He was the first U.S. government official to confirm in December 2007 that waterboarding was used to torture al-Qaeda prisoners during interrogations. Is it Kiriakou? Is that how you say his name? Became the only CIA officer to be convicted for exposing the CIA's enhanced interrogation program, having passed classified information to a reporter. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 30 months in prison. I don't know how whistleblowing laws work at all, or I don't know anything about how that works. I think that obviously you don't want people passing off things that could compromise the security of the United States or agents or anything else to reporters, but we also would. I think it's important that we know if there's stuff going on that I think as Americans we deserve to know about. I believe that the United States government publicly has the position that we don't torture people. And so if that's happening and the American public doesn't know about it, I think that's worth like leaking or whistleblowing on. I wonder what his actual charges were for. This is the correct way to handle it? Yeah, but did he try to file a conventional whistleblower complaint and then it was ignored, or? Oh, geez. Okay. He violated the Intelligence Identities Protection Act by emailing the name of a covert CIA officer to a freelance reporter who did not publish it. More than 6 decades of fraught interaction between the agency and the news media. He was the first current or former CIA officer to be convicted of disclosing classified information to a reporter. They talk about it in the video. Yeah, I don't have time to. I should be doing UK research, though. I shouldn't be reading this right now, okay? He led the team in 2002 that found Abu Zubaydah, a terrorist logistics specialist for Al-Qaeda. What? And other militants whose capture in Pakistan was hailed as a notable victory after the September 11th attacks. Kiriakou said that he chose not to blow the whistle on torture through internal channels because he believed he wouldn't have gotten anywhere because his superiors and the congressional intelligence committees were already aware of it. Huh. Just as a quick thing for that thought in general, but it might not apply to his case at all because I don't know how it works. It might be a lot differently when it comes to like classified stuff. Even if you think you're not going to get anywhere through an official channel, it's always important to try first so that you can say that you tried. Because when people go back to analyze your behavior afterwards, if somebody's accusing you of acting, like a malicious actor, and they're like, well, did you even try? And you're like, yeah, look, I went through the official channel and nothing came of it. And I got no, follow-up. It's like, oh, okay, well, fuck, what are you going to do? But if you didn't try, they can start to ascribe a lot more motivations, not even in like a classified environment. This could be in a corporate environment. This could be in a workplace thing or friend group thing or whatever. But there might have been reasons why he did or didn't. I wouldn't know. Yeah. Everyone knows what an orange is. Everyone knows what an Englishman is. Lucy Brown. Do I know this person? Follows you. Wait, what the? Well, they followed 12,000 people though. This is my alternate account too. Who is this person? I don't even think this is a real person. Never mind. First 5 minutes? Okay.
First of all, let's call a spade a spade. This is first of all, let's...
We'll watch 5 minutes of this. And by that I mean 2.5 minutes because I'm times doing it.
Let's call a spade a spade. This is a torture program. Waterboarding was supposed to be the ultimate technique, but there were a couple that were clearly worse than waterboarding.
You went to Guantanamo in 2002. Can you say what you were doing there? So at what point do you...
Destiny. In corporate, if you don't trust your employer/HR, then you're probably worse off if you report through official channels. I mean, if you don't trust HR, then you're already, I don't know what, at that point then you just leave, I guess. If you're in a situation where you think that HR is going to f*** you, then...
You find out about the enhanced interrogation program?
Well, I was back at headquarters in May of 2002, and I was in the cafeteria. And a friend of mine from the Counterterrorism Center came up to me and said, very offhandedly, hey, I'm so glad I ran into you. I meant to ask, do you want to be certified in the use of enhanced interrogation techniques? And I had never heard that term before. I said, what's that mean? He goes, we're going to start getting rough with these guys. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, we're going to do, and he listed these 10 techniques, waterboarding and sleep deprivation and, smack in the face and all these different kinds of things. I said, that sounds like a torture program to me. And he goes, no, it's not torture. The president approved it.
Sorry, as a real quick, I know this is an epic like Reddit or Twitter advice or whatever. LOL, trusting HR. HR is not your friend, LeMayo. 99% of the time when people say HR is not your friend, it's because they've done some retarded shit that they should have never been defended for. When you say HR solely exists to protect the company, they don't give a fuck about you, LeMayo. The idea is that you're reporting something to HR that's in violation of like the company protocol. You don't go to HR to litigate personal complaints you have with a coworker or a supervisor you don't like. You're supposed to go to HR when you have an issue with them acting improperly in the company. When you go to HR, people have this weird idea that like, oh, they're always going to side with the company, not you. Do you think that your supervisor or the person you're reporting is the company? If somebody's doing some shit, it's going to leave them vulnerable to things in the future. HR is going to throw the other person under the bus, not you. This weird idea, or if you want to think that and walk through your entire life where every single thing is a conspiracy and every company and school and every Jew and everybody's out to get you, you can have that. But if you have a legitimate complaint about somebody doing something that's clearly a violation of the company policy, then you go to HR and you report it. HR is not going to protect the other guy. Why? This is retarded. Unless you work in some small ass business and it's like 30 people, in which case HR is going to fuck you because they're just going to side with the owner and the family member and whoever nepoed their way into the job. But
and the Justice Department approved it, and we're going to start on it. I said, I don't know. I think I have a problem with that. Let me think about it for an hour. So I went back up to the 7th floor. There was a very senior CIA officer up there who I'd worked for 10 years earlier. And I said, hey, I just got approached and asked if I wanted to be certified in these enhanced interrogation techniques. What do you think of that? And he said, first of all, let's call a spade a spade. This is a torture program. And you know how these guys are, he says. Somebody's going to go overboard and they're going to kill a prisoner. And when that happens, there's going to be a congressional investigation and then a Justice Department investigation, and somebody's going to go to prison. You want to go to prison? And I said, no, I don't want to go to prison. So I went back downstairs. I said, this is a torture program. I want nothing to do with it. So they asked 14 people, and I'm sorry to say that I was the only one who said no. 2 of us said no in the beginning, and then 1 changed his mind. But I was the only one in the end that said no. I'm glad I did. In retrospect, I was right. They were wrong. But things got much, much worse before they got any better.
How so?
Well, they started torturing Abu Zubaydah on the 2nd of August.
The HR department is protecting the company. Don't trip. What do you think protecting the company means? Why do you assume that protecting the company means that they will not believe you and believe the other employee? Is the other employee the company? What does that mean? If my boss is sexually harassing me and I make a complaint to HR and you're like, oh, HR's got to protect the company. Yeah, protecting the company is starting a paper trail on the supervisor or having a conversation with the supervisor or firing the supervisor. It's not firing you. That's retarded. Or if you don't want to go to HR, that's fine. But anytime you have a big conflict at work, you are always going to lose because you're causing trouble. Do you think filing a complaint at HR, if that's your... Okay, I don't know. There are too many people in life where it's like, don't ever file an insurance claim. Insurance is just trying to fuck you. Don't go and file a claim with your medical insurance to get this covered. They're just trying to fuck you. Don't go to HR. HR is just trying to fuck you. Don't call the cops. They're protecting capital. They're just trying to fuck you. Like, if you walk through your life believing this about every thing, like, holy shit. If you're getting actually sexually harassed, you go to a lawyer first. God damn, dude. Not living in job reality. Bob the Kick. Most people don't have a lawyer on retainer that they can just pick up a phone and call. Nah, this is an L take. If I, as a lower level, go to HR to complain about upper management, they will always replace me before dealing with the manager. If you think that, then just don't ever complain about anything ever. But like, it's just not true. I think that people are, especially corporations, are very worried about like sexual harassment lawsuits or some bullshit. And the idea that if you go to complain, this is speaking mainly about the sexual harassment or like racist comments. If you go to complain to HR and then they just fire you, that's like a lawsuit waiting to happen. And also, you don't want somebody like that in your company. Why would you protect a racist supervisor or a racist manager, right? Unless it's this changes maybe if it's a very, very, very small company and then everybody's like friends and nepoed in, then it can get kind of weird. But like if they have an HR department, you should utilize it. Jesus.
2002, and it was a slippery slope. They did many, many, many things, not just Abu Zubaydah, but to most, if not all, of our high-value prisoners that were never authorized by the Justice Department or by the president. You know, you can't force hummus up someone's rectum, for example, right? You can't play Russian roulette with them. You can't, they learned Abu Zubaydah had an irrational fear of insects, and so they put him in a coffin, and they dumped a box of cockroaches in there with him, and then closed the coffin, and they left him in there for 10 days just with a diaper. You can't do that. Nobody told you had permission to do something like that. And waterboarding was supposed to be the ultimate technique, but there were a couple that were clearly worse than waterboarding. Sleep deprivation, right? We know from the American Psychological Association, which has done studies on this kind of thing, that people begin to go insane at 7 days with no sleep. They begin to die of organ failure with 9 days without sleep. The CIA was authorized to keep prisoners awake for 12 days. People died from sleep deprivation. Another one was something called the cold cell, where they strip the prisoner naked, they chain
how much sleep? Hold on.
Die of organ failure with 9 days without sleep.
Oh, 9 days. Jesus.
The CIA was authorized to keep prisoners awake for 12 days. People died from sleep deprivation. Another one was something called the cold cell, where they strip the prisoner naked, they chain you to an eye bolt in the ceiling so that you can't sit or lay or get comfortable in any way. They chill your cell to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and then every hour, somebody goes in and throws a bucket of ice water on you. We murdered 2 prisoners with that technique. That was never approved as a technique. So we did all kinds of stuff. There was another thing, a technique that was considered to be kind of a mild, no big deal kind of thing called walling, where they roll up a towel and put it around your neck, and then they shove you into a wall, right? Well, the wall, it's a, what do you call it, fiberboard? Piece of plywood, whatever. There's a little bit of give, and they have the towel so that you don't get whiplash. But they never used a towel. They never used anything around the neck. And it wasn't a plywood wall. It was a concrete block wall. And now we have, for example, Mohammed Attar, the nephew of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was slammed so mercilessly against the wall that he's now brain damaged to the point where he can't participate in his own defense.
Like, I think that if you want to torture people, fine, but then like just have like torture is what we do. But this weird, I don't like the weird position because this is too much of like a core value for a country. It can't be that we publicly deny it and privately do it. I don't think that's acceptable for a country like the United States. And it can't be that we publicly deny it, but say that we used enhanced interrogation and then privately used enhanced interrogation when that's just torture. That's just retarded. That position is just stupid. I feel like it's basically, I don't know if it's all or nothing. I guess maybe we can have conversations about like types of torture that would be allowed. But I think the ultimate retard take is the same thing like, oh, like waterboarding is not torture or whatever. I think it's like, I just think that's super retarded. Like, what are we doing here? I have a lot of respect for Hitchens. I'm still waiting on, I think Sean Hannity to do it. I have a lot of respect for Hitchens for, it was him, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Yeah, it was. I think he...
Simulates the feeling of drowning. It doesn't simulate the feeling of drowning. You are being drowned slowly.
He shit-talked the waterboarding thing for a long time. I don't know if he's like hawkish or what. Because he was like, it's like fake memes and he doesn't give a f***. He's like, waterboard me, I don't give a f***. And what, did he last like 3 seconds?
It's like the money in the largest spinning with some harm. They showed you the brain lag it and audience of sound. Then we do the TV line. The kill on switch again.
Okay, like 10 seconds.
But
What you?
I understand.
I did not enjoy this experience.
It has the effect of tightening the grip of this stuff on over your face and mouth and nostrils.
Right, somebody said Steven Crowder did this too.
Do I get to know when the water's coming?
Oh, damn.
All right. I don't know. I voted for Hillary, Ross Perot. I didn't know when it was coming. Okay.
It's
good again.
I feel like you should, if you're going to do this, you should practice beforehand a lot.
Again?
Well, yeah, give me the mug. I didn't know it was going to happen. It's the first time. Your mom.
I wonder if you can train someone to resist it. I feel like I read a long time ago that if you do it a lot and you get used to, like, you're supposed to like let your, like, you can let this part fill with water and breathe through your mouth or something. I don't remember. I feel like I read on a forum some guys were talking about this, but I imagine they probably just do something else afterwards. My friends waterboarded me in high school. Mate, I don't think those were your friends.